we're gonna just be like, yeah, I know, it really is that easy. You read it carefully. You realize there was only one answer that answered the question. That's what we're all about.
Hello and welcome to episode 529 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. I'm Ben Olson. With me is Nathan Fox. We're the co-founders of LSATdemon.com and the LSAT Demon Daily podcast. The first agenda item today is reading every passage thoroughly. This was a question that was sent in to the Ask button from Curvins.
Yeah, Curvin's a current student in our live classes. I've seen Curvin's a time or three in my classes. So this was the question that he sent in. The advice of Ben, Nathan, and a couple of other tutors to answer every question precisely and read every passage until you have a thorough understanding has to be lunacy? Question mark. When I attempt this method, I finish no more than 12 or 13 questions per passage, and I'm left guessing, and he means section there, 12 or 13 questions per section, and I'm left guessing the rest of the way. Can they further elaborate on this during their next LSAT Demon podcast or in some video? Yes, we sure can. Well, we're doing it on the Thinking LSAT podcast, Curvins, but hopefully you will hear this. Ben, you want to tell Curvins what's up?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things I want to say, Curvins. One, it is true that when you slow down to understand the passage precisely, the question precisely, and the answer choices, which you actually don't need to slow down as much for, but when you slow down to understand the passage and the question, a lot of people end up doing fewer questions. But that's not because we want you to end there. But that is the place. It's a step along the path that you have to take to eventually get to a point where you're doing more questions. If you just skip over that step, then you're not building a solid foundation, and you're actually never, or not never, but highly unlikely to eventually get to a point where you're doing more questions in the section.
Yeah, you're going to limit yourself. You're building on a shaky foundation. I mean, my question is, are you right now, Curvins, are you even getting all 12 or 13 of those questions that you're attempting right? Because you might need to slow down a little bit more to really get it. Those are the easy ones, Curvins. And what many students will do is they're going to try, I have to attempt at least 20 questions in the section, but then they only get like 10 of them right. And you're making way too many mistakes on the easier questions because you think you have to finish, you have to do more. And if you do it that way, the LSAT is always going to seem arbitrary to you. It's always going to seem harder than it actually is. You're going to argue with the questions. You're going to think that it's a test of second bests. And if you slow down and focus on just solving one question at a time, you're going to get more of them right. You're going to start to see how the LSAT is easy. And you are going to, as Ben already mentioned, you're going to take a lot less time comparing wrong answers to each other because you're going to predict the answers. Demon teacher Becca yesterday in one of her class reports on Slack was talking about how you can predict the answer to almost every question on reading comprehension because they're testing whether you understood what you read. So if you took the time to actually understand what you were reading and actually understand the question that they're asking you, you can predict those answers. You just know the answer. And if you know the answer, then the wrong answers just look like trash. It's like the 80-20 rule, but students get it backward, right? This isn't the 80-20 rule, but experts spend like 80% of their time on the passage and like 20% of their time on the answer choices. And students do it exact opposite. They spend like 20% of their time on the passage and then 80% of their time comparing answer choices to one another.
Yeah.
Curvins, I think you'll score higher today if you do fewer questions with higher accuracy. And I know for sure you'll score higher in the long run if you start approaching the test that way. People resist that message, don't they, Ben?
They do.
Sometimes we got to tell them few times.
So I'm not a sniper and I'm not a sniper expert, but I do feel like this phrase, right? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast,
Yeah,
comes from that context, maybe. But I can imagine it, right? When you're a sniper, if you're slow and deliberate in your targeting,
yeah,
you can take one shot and be done. And it may take a little longer to set up, but then you're done.
yeah.
Versus this like rapid fire miss. That's a weird analogy.
Well, I think it has something to do with. I don't think it's actually about killing people. I think it is have. I think it is something. It comes from the armed forces, and it's something to do with reloading rifles. I believe that if you learn how to do all the moves slowly and smoothly, then
Mm-hmm.
eventually you can do it just automatically,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do like. The idea is you learn how to do it right,
Mm-hmm.
then you can do it fast. But
Yeah.
students think, oh no, I got to learn how to do it fast. And then I just
No.
got to, then I'll try to get more of them right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing is Curvin has been messaging me on the side, and one
Mm,
thing that he mentioned is that he's doing a lot of practice tests. I think
mm,
maybe it was like 2 a week or something. I can't remember
mm-hmm.
Curvin's, but I encouraged you in our messages, and I would encourage you here to focus more of your time on drilling and time sections because you get to review your mistakes much faster in both of those cases, even faster in drilling. And yeah, you just need to practice getting questions right and then learning from your mistakes.
Yeah. You have to practice doing it right. You have to practice getting them right. We want you
Mm-hmm.
to prepare for success, not prepare for failure. And if you insist on trying to finish the sections, but you have like, you know, 65% accuracy or something, I mean, it's just way too many guesses in there. And I'd
Mm-hmm.
rather have you fully randomly guessing on questions that you didn't even attempt
Mm-hmm.
so that you can spend a bit more time actually solving questions and have more like 90, 95, 100% accuracy on your questions attempted. I think you'll score higher today, and I know you'll score higher tomorrow if you learn to do it that way. Thank you
Great.
for writing in, Curvins. Next one up is this is coming from r/law school admissions on Reddit. And someone's asking about telling law schools what other places you're applying to.
Okay. The post says, I'm seeing this box on a number of applications asking to list other schools I'm applying to. What's the point of this? Should I fill it out honestly or should I leave it blank? We have a note from the team. I have seen this on a handful of apps, but they have never been required in order to submit your application. And team member Jacob says he left them all blank.
I'm trying to think of a way that it could possibly benefit you to answer this question. I mean, if they require you to answer the question, fine, answer the question.
Yep,
But if
honestly.
it's optional, I think you just leave it blank. And I think that by default, you just leave all optional questions blank unless you think it's going to benefit you.
And even then, think twice because a lot of people have a
You think it's going to
default
benefit you,
assumption. Yeah, like, oh, this is
but
for
it
my
might not.
good. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, my
Right.
parents went to your school and now they're a big time attorney at
Yeah.
some
You're
big
giving them
firm.
hints that you might be willing to pay full price in
Mm-hmm.
that case. Yeah, I get it. I mean, generally, people need to flip this presumption that it's going to be an honor to get in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand that the law school application is like the first step in the negotiation over how much the price is going to be
Yep.
if you decide finally to go to this school. So, um, I suppose, that there might be I was trying to think like if you tell a school that you are applying to their competitor schools,
Mm-hmm.
that maybe could benefit you.
Yeah. It seems like it would, but I could also see in it you lead to yield protection, maybe.
Potentially, yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, and also you don't need to do that because if you just apply broadly, you don't have to tell them shit about what you did.
You know what you're
You just
worth.
apply broadly, you get
Mm-hmm.
all the offers coming in, and then when they admit you but they don't give you a good enough scholarship, you say, "Well, wait a second, I applied to this competitor school of yours and they're offering me a better price than you are."
Mm-hmm.
You don't say it with that tone, but that's what you basically say.
Yep.
And I would just say leave this blank.
Yeah. All right. Shifting gears. This next one is coming to us from Demon Student DJ. The subject is T20 scholarships with a 180 but mediocre GPA.
DJ says, "Hi, Demon. DJ here, longtime thankful listener. First and foremost, after a mid 160s diagnostic, I scored 180 on my first and definitely last LSAT,
Okay.
thanks to studying with you guys." Oh, you're not going to be like one of those LSAT teacher nerds who keeps taking the test over and over so that you can say you got 185 times? Um, praise the demon, DJ says. All right, good job, DJ. Hey, you did it yourself, man. You mid 160s diagnostic.
Yeah, that's like a great starting score. We just gave you some helpful tools. That's
Well,
about it.
I mean, what we do with high scorers is we give them permission to believe that the LSAT's easy.
And keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, like don't start diagramming all of a sudden. Don't start doing weird, like, oh, read the question first and do the section out of order and manage your time super carefully. You know, like DJ just cold 165. It's like, yeah, okay, great. Do that more. If you ever miss one, I mean, you missed some questions on your diagnostic. Okay, so here, let's talk about those questions. Let's talk
Yeah.
about why you missed
Yep.
those questions. But all the questions you got right, it was like we don't need to rebuild your foundation entirely. You get it. These questions are solvable. You can do it. You just have to read carefully. And DJ read carefully to begin with, so great. You know, um, so anyway, yeah, DJ, I think that we are especially good, by the way, for high scorers. The people who have the most talent, I think, are we like you'd be doing yourself a disservice not to go with us because we're gonna just be like, yeah, I know, it really is that easy. You read it carefully. You realize there was only one answer that answered the question. That's what we're all about. Um, all right, here's DJ's actual question.
Okay.
I have a 3.87 GPA. My school doesn't go above 4.0, which I grumble about. Well, it doesn't really matter whether they go above 4.0, DJ. What matters is, do they put A pluses on your transcript? Because if you can get an A, if they count an A plus as a 4.0, that doesn't matter. LSAC counts an A plus as a 4.33. So you shouldn't be mad that your school doesn't go above 4.0. You should be interested in whether A pluses appear on transcripts. That's a different issue.
Yep.
Maybe DJ's a little bit confused about that. DJ says, I'm working on my applications. I really want to go to a top public interest school. The dream is University of Michigan. That's a top public interest school? That's just a top school. I mean, University of Michigan has huge big law placement.
So I just pulled up Michigan. Their median LSAT is 171. Their median GPA, at least last year, was 3.86 for the full-time program.
Wow. Okay, so he's a great candidate for UMich.
Yeah, I mean, he said mediocre GPA. Well, hey, you're above their median. 50th
Yeah, it is
percentile.
mediocre for the Yales of the world, but it's not
Yeah.
it's not mediocre for the whole top 14. So that's great. He says, I have no interest in big law. Okay, don't say that in your applications, though.
Yep.
That's fine. And if you want to express an interest in public interest, you know, that's okay. But just don't be like foreclosing the possibility of big law, because that really is what law schools at the top are all about.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he says, because I have no interest in big law, I'll need to get a really good scholarship. I think that's savvy. I'm still working on my personal statement and other essays, and I'm shooting for a November 1 application deadline. I'm considering slimming down my apps this year to be able to really focus on my essays and only apply to 5 or 6 schools instead of around 15 schools.
I disagree with that approach.
As do I. Why would you? I mean, dude, your numbers are going to get you in. If you write a great personal statement, you use that same personal statement for every school. Optional essays are optional. They're going to want you because of your numbers. You're interested in getting a really good scholarship. I think you're crazy to slim it down so that you can work on optional essays. What? Why?
Just think of the trade off. Let's assume for a second that by focusing on only 5 to 6 schools, your essays are marginally better. I don't see why they would be because you can reuse your personal statement at the other schools. But assuming that it is marginally better, the opportunities and offers you get from 10 more schools and the potential
Yeah.
offers that are full rides, potentially stipends, which will then put you in a much stronger negotiating position, will help you more with those 5 to 6 schools than the marginal improvement on your essays. I think so. DJ here must be focused on the optional essays, but you don't need to do the optional essays. By definition, they're optional. So do the personal statement. And if you don't want to do the optional essays on the other 10 schools, fine, don't do it, but apply to them for sure.
Yeah. DJ says, in your mind, is it still worth applying broadly this cycle, or is it already too late and I should wait a year, save up some money, and apply for fall of 2027? Getting accepted places is great, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go somewhere I don't need to be six figures in debt for. You certainly don't need to be six figures in debt. I mean, you're going to get multiple full ride slash full ride plus scholarship offers. That's just the game we're playing. If you have a reasonable personal statement and you apply with a 180 and a 3.87, there are going to be many top schools, maybe not Harvard, Yale, Stanford, whatever, but there's going to be so many schools in the top 25 that want to let you go for free or even pay you to go there. He continues, the Demon Estimator tells me I have a possible stipend at almost every school outside of Harvard, Yale, Stanford, but other online forums are making me doubt that. Maybe because I didn't apply right away? Thanks for considering this question, DJ. Oh, there's a follow up. I don't know if you'll read this too, but some quick context. The test was from 2024, and I'm late on apps because I've only just now decided that I do indeed want to go to law school. I was concerned for a bit that I would pull a Nathan, ace the LSAT, and hate law school, so I am slightly more time bound than some. That's a prison entirely of your own making. I will also
Clearly,
say,
yeah.
especially because you don't want to be like me, DJ, wait till next September to apply. Let's see how serious you really are about this. I get it that you've already waited a little bit. You can wait a little bit longer. I feel like you're going off half cocked a little bit here, right? It's like, oh, I wasn't sure I wanted to do it, but now I'm totally sure and I want to apply right away. Maybe just sleep on it. And by sleep on it, I mean wait till next September. You can't go wrong waiting till next September. What do you think?
I couldn't agree more. And I will add too that I think DJ, given the urgency, is feeling like this time between now and next September will be wasted. But there are so many ways in which you can leverage this time to become a better applicant, be more confident about your decision, and be more ready for law school in 2027. Consider getting a job at a law firm, gaining legal experience, doing Crushing 1L. That's our platform that prepares people for law school. But I'm thinking right now, building that network. Go talk to attorneys, one, to solidify this decision, but two, just get a better understanding of the game that you're getting into. And then when you start in 2027, everything is just stacked in your favor.
Yeah. I mean, do you want to start the race at the beginning of the race or do you want to start the race after a lot of people already started running?
Yes.
I mean, look, producer Jacob just posted yesterday on Slack. I don't know if you saw this yet, Ben. This is
Hmm.
breaking news. LSAC released data on applicants.
Hmm.
It looks like this was October 12th of this year.
Okay.
Applicants are up 32.9%, 33%. Applicants are up 33% from where they were on October 12th of 2024. 33% uptick in applicants at this point in the cycle.
Hmm.
Applicants with scores of 170 to 174 are up 24%. Applicants with scores of 175 to 180 are up 30%. So more people applying, including more people applying in the highest score bands.
Early.
We've already seen some scholarship offers start to come out. It is entirely possible that University of Michigan is not among those schools that's already evaluating applications. But other schools are already evaluating applications. And DJ, I mean, this is like sort of a personal note, but because you named me and you said I was concerned that I would pull a Nathan, I'm telling you right now that if you want to not pull a Nathan, I really think you should wait and apply next September. It feels like you're doing exactly what I did, which was just kind of not do the application. I mean, I only applied to like 3 schools. That was so stupid of me. Don't do that.
DJ,
Anything more?
apply to work for us in the
Oh,
meantime.
absolutely. Totally. Yeah, you get it. You got it to begin with, and then you crushed it using our way of doing it. Yes, please do work with us, part time, remote. Um, Help make the demon a little bit better. Apply next September. You will be grateful that you did that, and we will too.
Hi, everybody. Josh, producer of the podcast, here with a quick update to our announcements to ensure that you have the most current information. Be sure to join our team at the Los Angeles LSAC Law School Forum on Saturday, October 25th at the Westin Bonaventure Hotel. It will be open from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. The first 200 people will get a free copy of The LSAT is Easy and can spin the wheel to win additional merch. Make sure to register at lsac.org/law school forums. Thanks and enjoy the rest of the show.
I just saw the pictures from yesterday. They were at the DC forum, and it's always Abigail and Billy, and then like a rotating cast of demon characters. But Alla and Mikey were there, and the booth was just jammed, and everybody was holding up pictures of their free book and everything. It's super cool to see that. So thanks to the team for doing such a great job, and thanks everybody for going out and talking to our team.
Yeah. All right. This next item is tips from departing demons. So when people leave or are finished with studying, they click cancel, and then we give them an exit survey. And not everyone fills it out, but some people fill it out. And one of the things we ask is, hey, what advice do you have for your comrades? Fellow
We ask what would you change about the demon? Someone the other day filled one out and said Nathan's attitude is what they would like to change about the demon.
They'd like to change that. Okay.
I mean, maybe I would like that too, but I don't think I can. So this is tips. How would you advise fellow demon students? Luke from Jacksonville, Florida said, "You control your own destiny." Madison from Winchester, Massachusetts said, "The LSAT is completely learnable. Just don't take it too seriously. When you start treating it like the end all be all, it becomes more stressful in the process." Ramsey from College Station, Texas says, "Never doubt the process." Harley from Pflugerville, Texas says, "My biggest help was slowing down on reading comp. Scratch out a very short explanation of the paragraph, I think, in your mind. Not having to go back and search or reread saves so much time in the long run."
Great.
Any thoughts about any of those tips?
No. Do we happen to know the LSAT scores for these folks?
Nah, we don't. We just have their tips.
Yeah. It would be nice to know. Next one.
This is an email from Demon student Matthew. Subject is question about LSAC access rights waiver. Oh, yeah, I know what this is. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, LSAT Demon Team. My name is Matthew, and I'm currently preparing my law school applications through LSAC. I came across the access rights waiver, that's all in quotes, section for letters of recommendation and wanted to ask for your advice on what's generally recommended to select. I understand that waiving my right to view the letters may make them appear more credible to admissions committees, but I'd like to hear your team's perspective on what approach you typically suggest for applicants. Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward.
Very straightforward. You got to check that box and waive your rights. That way the committees know for sure that you're not, you're not blackmailing your recommenders.
I want to see
into
that letter, and it better
recommending
be
you.
fucking good.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. If you want to see what the letter says, many times your recommenders are going to send it to you before they upload it anyway. Right.
100%.
They're just gonna say, I mean, and I suppose you could even ask them like, hey, but I don't know, that's a little awkward. Recommend me, but I want to read it first. Nah, I don't think you can say that.
No, but most people do send it, right? First of all, they're writing you a letter of recommendation as a favor. They want to get credit for that favor. They're like, hey, look, this is what I had
Yeah.
to say about you. So,
Yeah.
and if they don't send it to you, fine. Who cares? Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Well, also often they're going to be like, yeah, why don't you go ahead and draft it? And
Yeah.
I'll edit it and
I'll
send
review
it out.
it. Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, because it is just a hoop to jump through, right? And I think bosses and professors, they know that it's just a hoop to jump through. And so, a lot of times, sure, they're going to have you draft it, or they're going to want your input to make it as good as it can be. So you're going to read a lot of them anyway. But yeah, if you don't check that box, then it's like, hey, you told somebody that you're going to sue them if they don't write you a good letter of recommendation, and it's not going to look credible. So
It also just reveals insecurity.
oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you were a law school admissions committee and you got 5,000 applications, but you were only going to admit 1,500 of them, you're looking for reasons not to admit somebody. If 95% of the people check that box and waive their rights to read their letters of recommendation and 5% don't, it sort of gives you one little flag. It's just that can't
It's
be
just
a
a
good
red
thing
flag.
about that applicant. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, well, maybe we can't really trust their letters as much as we could trust other people's letters. So if we can't admit everybody, maybe we just don't admit them. Reduce our risk or whatever.
Totally.
Related, this is another thing that was on our teacher Slack yesterday. This is a PSA from Robert, Demon Team member Robert. Says, pro tip for anyone reapplying this cycle. I just got off the phone with LSAC. They advised refreshing our candidate referral service permissions to the current year for the current app cycle. So you go to the candidate referral service tab, you edit CRS preferences, you change both releases to no and save, then change back to yes and save. And candidate referral service, it's a different thing, but that's where you basically are giving law schools permission to reach out to you. And sometimes they reach out to you with application fee waivers. Sometimes they reach out to you with scholarship offers, unsolicited. So anybody out there who is reapplying, you might want to basically refresh your candidate referral service settings so that you're sure that schools will be able to reach out to you this cycle.
Do we want people to turn that on?
I know we've gone back and forth on this. It used to be a clear yes. I think it still is a clear yes. Most people on our team that we had a little bit of conversation with our team members, because we always have a crop of 170 something people applying to law school every single year.
Yeah.
Like a dozen every single year. And everybody on the team seemed to agree that the candidate referral service was helpful. Just it's nice to get some unsolicited offers from some schools.
Apply and don't worry about the application. Yep.
Yeah, you might apply to one or a couple more schools that you wouldn't have applied to otherwise.
All right, Nate, what's the deal with Santa Clara Law?
Well, on episode 526 of Thinking LSAT, we discussed how Santa Clara, they had this press release that was turned into a news story about giving all accepted students a $15,000 scholarship.
Yeah.
So, that that gets received just very generously by the media. The media is like, "Oh, wow, that's so great. $15,000 for everyone?
No
Oh, wow."
exceptions?
And like, "Oh, so everybody should apply to Santa Clara," which is
Yeah.
exactly, I mean, that's of course the point of it, right?
Yeah.
Um, what they're really doing is just lowering their tuition by $15,000, but calling it a scholarship, which is just a scam.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, like think about stores, Ben, that always have sales, like everything's always on sale.
Yeah, and if you go in there and you see something for full price, you know you're being a sucker to pay for that.
Right. And that's
Come
essentially what
back next week.
they're telling you that without telling you that. I mean, now they're not even going to, full price isn't even going to be an option at Santa Clara because of this $15,000 scholarship. But all they're doing is they're setting their tuition at $65,000. They're giving everybody a $15,000 scholarship so that you can get under that $50,000 borrowing cap, which is brand new. And they're presenting it as a favor to students, a favor to applicants.
It's a favor to themselves because otherwise people wouldn't be able to pay full price and go there.
Their U.S. News and World Report ranking is 156th in the country. There are about 200 ABA accredited law schools. And this school is deep into the 100 somethings. From their homepage, by the numbers.
By the numbers. Okay. Yeah, this is you're quoting them. Yeah.
Look at these lies, damn lies, and statistics. Santa Clara Law's programs are nationally recognized for excellence in legal education. Number 1, that's the 2025 ranking for part-time JD programs in Northern California by U.S. News and World Report.
Okay, so let's dramatically limit the pool
Yeah.
of contestants. We're going to look at Northern California, not all of California, God forbid, and just part-time programs. Okay.
Only part-time programs, right? So does Stanford have a part-time program? No, that means Stanford does not have a part-time program. Does Berkeley have a part-time program? No, that means Berkeley does not have a part-time program.
If they did, they would be number 1. Yeah.
They would be number 1. Yes. They're number 18 in the nation, apparently, for part-time JD programs.
Okay.
But that doesn't allow, they're number 1, though, in Northern California.
Mm-hmm.
Basically meaningless. They got an A+ in international law programs by Pre-Law Magazine. They're number 4 in intellectual property law programs from U.S. News and World Report. Which that also is just a lie. I mean, look, how long is it going to take you, Ben, to name 4 schools that would be better to go to if you wanted to study intellectual property or if you wanted to do IP?
Yeah, I'm struggling here. Maybe what's that? Harvard? Oh yeah, Harvard. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could name 40 schools that would be better to go to if you were serious about going into intellectual property law.
Yeah.
No, there's no this is some dorky ranking where because you have these specialty classes or whatever.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
But it's just a fiction because if you don't have like a technical background, then you're probably not going to go be the kind of IP lawyer that you think you're going to be anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, but yeah, Harvard, Stanford, Yale. Obviously, those kinds of schools are going to equip you better for every type of law, including IP law. Anyway, this Pre-Law magazine also gave them an A+ for intellectual property law programs.
Thanks, Pre-Law magazine.
What is Pre-Law magazine? Have you ever even heard of Pre-Law magazine?
I feel like I have, actually. I feel like it's these free magazines that are sitting in the hallways of law schools in these like racks.
Okay.
but
I
it's
want to get a
pre-law.
subscription to that. We need to get, I want to see every week what or month what pre-law magazine actually looks like. I also wonder whether Santa Clara Law is an advertiser in pre-law magazine. Because I'm already not confident in U.S. News and World Report's journalistic standards.
Sure.
But this pre-law magazine that I've never heard of before, I'm quite skeptical.
Hmm.
Anyway, none of this means they're bad. It's just like, compare look, this is the 156th ranked school in the country, but then look how they sell themselves. And
Yeah.
every school does this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's an excerpt from their website. You want to read it?
Yeah. Santa Clara Law is not just a law school. It is a transformative learning community built on an ethic of loving kindness. What is this? Huh? What? That's almost
I don't know.
borderline religious.
It's a Jesuit school. Yeah. I mean, Santa Clara
it is
one
religious.
of the Jesuit universities.
Okay.
Yes.
Didn't realize that.
No,
Okay.
they're not ashamed of it. It's a Jesuit school. They're not going to avoid saying things like that.
Well, I'm looking at both the word transformative, which you have a history with, and the ethic of loving kindness. I mean, it's definitely an idealistic notion, right? So
it's a nice idea. I mean, how does that square with like going out and being a lawyer though?
Well, how does that actually, what's the practical implication of that for your everyday class experience? Are the teachers trying to embody loving kindness, or I don't know, maybe that's interesting, but okay.
They're really pimping all of their specialized JD cohort programs, Tech Edge JD cohort for students interested in high-tech law, Public Interest JD cohort for students interested in social justice and public service law. They got a whole bunch of JD graduation certificates that you can tack on. This is all just bells and whistles, right? Just marketing.
Just
stuff.
Ignore it. Yeah.
Right. It's just a way that they can try to convince you that, if I want to do tech lawyering, I should definitely go to Santa Clara. No, you should go to Stanford if you can get in. And if you can't, you should go to Berkeley. And if you can't, you should go to somewhere else. But, not probably the 156th law school in the country.
Yeah.
So let's dig in though to, this is where the real information is.
Yeah, 100%.
Is in the pricing.
Mm-hmm.
So I always look at 509 reports first. Median LSAT of 157 for both the full-time and the part-time program. Median GPA 3.45, 3.37. Law firms know this. So it's just when schools hold themselves out as like, we're some amazing IP school. But then any law firm that would hire you to do IP law knows that your average, the median person there had a 157 LSAT. Also, the 75th percentile is 160.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's not the type of people that are going to go do high level IP litigation for Apple Computer or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It just seems fictional to me that this would be translating to the kinds of jobs that they would pretend you're going to be able to get.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll see when we get into the employment outcomes. But
sure.
First, financing.
Yeah, I'm just going to the estimator right now, and then I clicked on Santa Clara.
Perfect.
Is that where you were going to go?
I was just scrolling down the 509, but it is faster to go to the scholarship estimator and just click on the tuition roll call. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is focusing on the full-time students. We are adding the part-time option soon. But if you're looking at their full-time program, 5 students or 1% of the class got a stipend, which is great. If you're thinking about going here, then that's an opportunity for you to go for free and get paid.
Yep.
Full tuition is 21%. More than half is 25%. So, almost half the class is paying less than half.
Well, and it's worth noting, we always have to note now that big chunk of more than half could include 100% of the tuition and
Good.
some of the
Hmm.
fees. It just can't cover every dollar of tuition and fees. So they can definitely offer people a full tuition scholarship and call it a more than half scholarship on their 509s. I mean, this could be as much as, yeah, 47% of the class who's paying no tuition.
Yeah, and this is where the 509 does provide a little more detail. What is the 75th percentile grant amount?
$59,254.
Okay.
Uh, and they've got their tuition listed. Oh, of course, they're listing it by credit, so you can't
It's
actually
65.
calculate it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
65,000. Yep.
So this is last year. Next year we know that we're expecting to see 100% of the students get grants. Oh, wait. Yeah, because right now, wow, geez, last year only 62% of their students got grants.
Hmm.
So there were 38% of the class paying that full freight. Boy, this is a school where we really do have the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna hopefully it's just a whole bunch of rich kids that are paying that full tuition. If it's all just like Silicon Valley kids and their parents are billionaires and it doesn't matter, then fine, it doesn't matter. But boy, if kids are borrowing that while half the class is paying less than half,
I think we
maybe even
know
paying zero.
I think we know the answer to that question though.
Well, it is true that children of billionaires tend to do better on the LSAT, better in college.
Well,
So,
there's that angle, but there's also why on earth did they offer a $15,000 scholarship to everyone
yeah,
if they didn't already know that they had, or if they did already know that, hey, a lot of these people can afford it
yeah,
despite the recent federal loan cap.
yeah. This is, by the way, a school that does conditional scholarships. Last year, 37 people entered with a conditional scholarship, and about half of those had their scholarship either reduced or eliminated.
Hmm.
So, you know, that's fine. If you get your scholarship reduced or eliminated, you're not doing well in school and you should probably just drop out anyway. But just, be careful that price, you're going to have to do well. But hey, look, again, with a median GPA of 3.45 and a median LSAT of 157, if you can't compete at this school, then how are you going to compete in law anyway? So getting your scholarship reduced or eliminated is just more like a sign. Um, Employment stuff?
Yeah, let's jump to that.
Okay, cool. We'll skip the bar passage rate stuff because bar passage is really not that it's not that telling anyway. I mean, well, I guess we should talk about how the first time bar passage rate is, it's all the way up to 75% in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
It was 62% the year before that. It was 64% the year before that. So this is a school that like chronically, systematically admits a class of people who are there's going to be a significant bar failure rate in that cohort. But we could have told you that because of the LSAT and the GPA.
Wait, for reference, what is the first time bar passage rate for schools like Harvard, Yale, Stanford?
Let's look it up real quick. First time bar pass rate, Stanford law. Google says 94% in 2024,
Okay.
97% in 2023.
Wow.
But I mean, I could have told you that based on their LSAT and their GPA. It's not to
I
do
would have
with the quality
predicted
of
that.
education.
I just wanted to make sure, right? Like,
Yeah.
is it really radically different? That is radically different. 25% of the class is not passing it the first time. I mean, the ultimate bar passage rate is probably more important because it's ultimately what you're going to walk away with. Those get closer to 90% for Santa Clara, but still, it's a struggle.
It's hilarious because Santa Clara Law charges like Stanford Law prices, and
Hmm.
their campus looks like Stanford's campus. I mean, it's
Mm,
not nearly as grand as Stanford's campus, but it
yeah.
has like a similar sort of architecture. You know, it's got the similar kind of like vibes of the California missions, you know, the Adobe and stuff, or not Adobe, but it looks like, you know, that Spanish kind of architecture.
Yeah.
And I mean, yeah, it's just like, oh, hey, like they're holding themselves out there as, oh, well, we're number one in intellectual property, whatever.
Yeah.
No, Stanford is number one in intellectual property, whatever. And Stanford is like 5 miles away from you and has vastly more qualified students.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's why their bar passage rate is going to be damn near 100%. And their employment outcomes are going to be way, way, way better than the Santa Clara. It's just not even the same thing at all. So that's why it's wild that these are like, oh, ABA accredited schools. Hey, they're both ABA accredited schools. Yeah, I know, but they're just not even close to the same. Anyway, employment summary. I think we can go through this pretty quickly and then just move on to personal statement Gong show. But why don't you read it?
Sure. So 40 graduates in law firms of 501 plus, that's 20%. I am curious about the 250 plus just because I still think that's a pretty damn big law firm. Oh yeah, here. Oh, these are the numbers we actually went over last time. There are 50 people essentially going into big law or clerkships, federal clerkships.
Okay, so 50 out of
200.
202,
Mm-hmm. So
you know,
100, so 50%.
50%?
Oh, sorry, 25%. Yep.
Yeah, 25%. 25%, which by the way,
Now they're going to quote me. They're going to put that on their website. 50%.
Ben Olson says, no, but I mean, look, so, you know, you go back to the tuition roll call and
Hmm.
you see 1% getting a stipend, 21% getting a full tuition scholarship,
Yeah.
and then 25% getting a more than half scholarship. And then you think about, wait, so 25% of those, 25% of the students are going to go into big law. I'm
Which
that
ones? Yeah.
Well, it's just going to be an enormous overlap there between the
Hmm.
people who paid nothing to go there. Those are the people who have a realistic chance of going in, or a far more realistic chance of going straight into big law. Of course, there's always exceptions. There's people who get a scholarship and then don't do jack shit while they're in school and wash out, like I did. Except I didn't get a scholarship because I was dumb about how I applied, and I didn't go to Santa Clara.
It
But
was transformative for you though. So
it was
it's all
transformative.
good.
Thank you. Um, the And there are going to be people who go there and pay tuition and do end up getting one of these big law jobs. I understand that there are going to be exceptions, but in probabilistic terms, if you're there with a higher LSAT and a higher GPA, you're probably going to do better on the grades. If you do better on the grades, you're probably going to get the on-campus interviews. You're probably going to get connected to the firms in a way that you're just not going to get connected if you go there and finish below the middle of the class. And if you're there on a less than half scholarship, then you're less than half. I would predict that you're gonna, I would just predict that you're gonna finish somewhere in line with the where you are on the scholarship matrix. If you're in that 35% of students who last year got no discount at all, I think that the big law placement among that cohort is going to be extremely low.
Mm.
There will always be exceptions. The reason why we keep talking about this is because it's just the way the system is set up. The people who pay the least get the most, and the people who pay the most get the least. Anyway, anything more about Santa Clara law?
I think it's a perfectly fine school to go to, but I would make sure I I would strongly prefer to go there with a full tuition scholarship that includes fees or with a stipend. Uh, Dramatically reduce your cost, dramatically increase the likelihood of getting a big law job and getting paid for your time. Otherwise, probably don't go.
Well, I mean, at the very least, familiarize yourself with the financing of the school. You know, pay like this whole big splash that they're trying to make with $15,000 scholarship for everybody. All they're acknowledging is we can't get away with charging $65,000 tuition because kids can't borrow that much. So we're going to call it 65,000, call it a $15,000 scholarship. But then there's also going to be way, way, way bigger scholarships than that going out to the top half of the class, presumably. So, if they offer you $15,000 a year, that's going to be literally the worst scholarship they can offer anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be getting the worst deal at that school. I don't know. Even if they offer you 25,000, right? Look, their median scholarship last year was $40,000 for the full-time program.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't pay even half price or else you're getting ripped off relative to everybody else at your school.
Yep.
Okay. Enough of that. People always get mad at us for like going too negative or whatever, but I just feel like it's a consumer protection. Like this is just a PSA.
We're telling you it's a bad deal. It's just like a lemon that's trying to be sold for a high price. Don't buy the lemon. If that's offensive, sorry.
Personal statement Gong show. Jeremiah is taking the stage for the personal statement Gong show, chasing Noah's record from last time of 36 lines. And Noah has the asterisk there, meaning that we actually made it all the way through Noah's personal statement.
Yep. I see that Jeremiah has an email here, but I think we should probably read the personal statement first because that's how we're going to encounter it if we were admissions.
Yeah.
Folks.
If we remember, we'll go back and read Jeremiah's email.
Okay. I can go ahead and read this one.
Yeah.
I'm noticing here, Jeremiah, you have no header. Could just be because you're submitting it to the show, but you need your name, you need the phrase personal statement, and you need your LSAC number. Obviously, you don't have to give us your real number, but that's what your final document needs to include.
Okay.
First sentence, I'm a paralegal at a family law firm that specializes in assisted reproductive technology law.
Okay.
I support the firm owner and associate attorney with a caseload of around 100 cases.
Okay.
The majority are surrogacy cases.
Yeah. You ended 2 sentences in a row with cases. I don't think you had to do that. It's just not really a very artful way of writing. Through 3 sentences, I'm interested in Jeremiah. Jeremiah seems like a professional person, which I really like. Jeremiah is a paralegal working in law. That's great. This writing is dry, and I really wonder whether Jeremiah read this out loud. Because, I support the firm owner and associate attorney with a caseload of around 100 cases. The majority are surrogacy cases. I don't know. It's just...
Yeah, it is dry. I think one thing, Jeremiah, you are jumping into your professional story very fast. You have short, clear sentences without any grammar or punctuation mistakes. So there are a lot of wins here. But I think what Nate is getting at and what I see is when you say I am, and then when you say I support, these are empty verbs. I would replace this and say, as a paralegal at a family law firm, I handle, or I not even handle, I draft.
Yeah.
Surrogacy
I handle the drafting of surrogacy contracts. No,
Yeah.
I draft surrogacy contracts.
Between intended parents and surrogate mothers. Like if you cut a lot of this and just jump in as a paralegal at a family law firm, I draft surrogacy contracts between intended parents and surrogate mothers, all of a sudden I see you doing that.
This statement has way too many I sentences. We try to encourage people to have I sentences, and Jeremiah, to the extent that you're taking our advice on that, I'm glad you're listening to us, but you also do need to mix it up.
Mm-hmm.
And note that Ben's construction still had I as the subject of the sentence.
Mm-hmm.
Ben threw in there as a paralegal at a family law firm, comma, I, and then have your sentence. And you just mix it up a little bit because, like, it's funny. If you keep going on, Ben, like 75%, 80, 90% of the sentences are going to start with the word I.
Mm.
And I don't know, man, you start reading that out loud and it just does not sound right.
Yeah. You can use we, you can use my team, you can use a variety of things. I research to find the jurisdiction and applicable state law. It's kind of like the handle the drafting. Instead of I research to find, I would just say I determine the jurisdiction and applicable state law.
Yeah, I research to find is very clunky and
Mm-hmm.
should be trimmed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you need stronger verbs that
Mm-hmm.
really illustrate the action that you're taking as opposed to just kind
Well,
of distancing yourself from the action and describing something.
that's two sentences in a row where the verb is there. He's just adding in
Other
instead
verbs.
of I draft, he says I handle the drafting. Instead of I find, he says I research to find.
Yeah.
He's just adding in. It's just bloat. I don't know what to call it. It's just like needs editing.
Mm-hmm. Trimming. These contracts are the first step in the legal process for intended parents obtaining parentage for their future children. Okay. I also review legal assistance drafting of contracts and train new hires in the process. I manage most of the correspondence with clients, opposing counsel, agencies, fertility clinics, and hospitals. I make sure all parties approve of the final version of the contract before issuing legal clearance to the fertility clinic. Okay, I think there's stuff here. It's just feels very dry. Maybe we need to get into a real story.
Yeah, also this paragraph's way too long. We're only halfway through the first paragraph. The first paragraph here takes up almost the entire first page. And it's almost like the sentences it feels really disjointed. It's almost as if like Jeremiah took his resume and then put it into an LLM and said, "Hey, turn this into," but like I want every single bullet to be its own sentence in a personal statement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just like there's this instead of like, okay, well, you got to tell me some kind of a story. Like pick one thing that's the most interesting or like, where's the win here?
Yeah, I do think Jeremiah is earnestly trying to follow our advice.
Yeah, I
Just
agree.
overly focused on maybe the structure of the sentences rather than the underlying story.
Yeah.
Jeremiah continues, this process can be complex at times due to unresponsiveness or disagreement between parties. Okay, so that's
maybe use an anecdote there.
Yeah,
though.
totally. I mean, notice that those are two nouns, unresponsiveness, disagreement, that could be verbs. So here's an opportunity to turn them into verbs. So failed to respond or disagreed, right? And now you also have a new subject because you're not the one disagreeing. The parents are the ones disagreeing. So you could say, last month we had a family that, or, a surrogate mother who, whatever, who knows? Just tell a story. I keep track of and follow up with the parties to ensure the legal process is completed on time. You're talking about the parties in general. This is the opposite, by the way, of what newspapers do, right? They tell a story and then they go general. And we encourage people to do that a lot in their personal statement. Tell a story and then show us how this reflects a broader pattern of success. Like, oh, and I've closed 100 contracts like these. Here, you're just staying high level. Like, oh, here's a bunch of stuff I do, but not getting into the details of any one of them.
I think you could cut that sentence also. I mean, it seemed pretty obvious to me that you were going to be keeping track of and following up with these parties. Like, why else would you bring up that the process can be complex at times due to unresponsiveness or disagreement between parties? I get it. You're going to be chasing these people down. Um, it's like it's sort of too stretched out, like trying to make more of it than what's actually there. I just think that this whole thing could be way, way shorter, like half as long.
And I think we need a real story so we can latch on to that.
Mm-hmm.
This is important because we have to complete the contract phase and obtain a pre-birth order before the surrogate gives birth, so the intended parents can have their parental rights legally recognized. Okay. I also draft and file the pre-birth order pleadings.
Wow, there is drama here, by the way. You know, like that surrogate, assuming the surrogate is already pregnant, there's like a clock on this.
Oh, yeah. And I'm sure their emotional state changes from week to week. There could be times when they're like, hey, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. I think we need one anonymized mother here, one anonymized surrogate, one anonymized
parent.
Family, right? And then take us through this case. And you know, you already told us that you've got a case, you've got 100 of these going on at one time. That's great. But let's get in there to one of them instead of all of these real big, vague. Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's the fix.
Okay. I researched to find the most friendly county to file in based on our experience with previous cases in the county's precedent. The filing process can be complicated due to various courts' strict requirements and judges' opinions. My job is hard. That's what you're saying.
Also, a little bit like
telling.
Well, the thing, a little like borderline criticizing certain courts or criticizing certain judges.
The legal system generally,
or criticizing the system. Yeah, I mean, we just don't want to ever do that. You're a successful family law paralegal. I want it to come off as, you know, the system doesn't have to be perfect, but you're not bitching about the system. You are crushing it within the system. That's the story that I want you to give us.
You can talk about the challenges, but talk about them in a way in which you address them, not just float them out as problems to
Judge
be
something about
noted.
Judges' opinions there. I don't think you mean legal opinions. It's almost like you're talking about the judges' personalities or something.
Yeah, and I'm sure that's true. I know that some judges are harder to work with than others, but this is not the place to allude to.
Just be really careful, yeah.
Okay, when filing in new counties, I research requirements and add the information to our firm's training manual. I also add sample emails that legal assistants can use for correspondence. This is, again, this is like another bullet point.
Yeah.
It's really hard. It's almost like we have to just keep shifting. It's like, oh, okay, what's your next task? Oh, what's your next task?
It's just so dry. The whole thing is so dry. And there's no story there. We do switch now. This is a new topic coming up.
Okay. Next paragraph. So finally, the first paragraph is over. I created.
By the way, there's like that first paragraph is just like kitchen sink. It's like, here's so much shit that I do in my job.
Yeah.
With no story at all.
So Jeremiah is trying to show instead of tell us what he's doing, but he's showing it's not getting down to the details enough, and it's too broad. It's like this wide net.
Yeah, and it's not enough like just winning. It's not enough like Jeremiah
kicking ass,
solving a problem, kicking ass. It's more just like, here's all of the various things that Jeremiah has to do with no narrative at all to tie it together, and just one big wall of text. I don't know.
Hmm.
Room for improvement.
Second paragraph. I created multiple projects through Claude AI to improve efficiency at the firm. Okay, I like knowing that you did that. It shows you're tech savvy and looking forward to the future, which is going to need people to do these sorts of things. I created a project to assist with the drafting process. Vague.
I'm about to ring the gong, I think. I just don't think I can take any more of this.
These isolated sentences, standalone.
I don't know what it is. It's just something so strange. Like, it's something robotic about it.
It's robotic. Mm-hmm.
Also, I mean, look, you just said, look at these two sentences next to each other. That's what it is, Ben. It's that the sentences don't like follow on to one another.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like, there's
discrete. Yeah.
They're all so, it's all just so disjointed. And it's as if you wrote each sentence independently without considering the sentence that came before it or the sentence that came after it. I mean, you just said, I created multiple projects through Claude AI to improve efficiency at the firm. Then the next sentence, I created a project. What?
So yeah, you're not acknowledging the multiple projects. So you could say something like one of the projects. Yeah, there's
totally.
no connection to the it's like an isolated sentence. It could stand on its own. Yeah.
It's I don't know. I don't know what it is. Jeremiah, I hope you don't take this personally.
We're just talking about your sentences. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not judging you, Jeremiah. I'm judging the words that are on the page here. But it's so bizarre because you see what I'm saying, right, Ben? Like that second sentence seems to just not even acknowledge the existence of the previous sentence.
No, yeah.
The sentences don't flow in any kind of a way. It's like Jeremiah heard us say, hey, use I sentences, and then just decided, oh, okay, so every single sentence has to start with the word I.
Yep.
But also, really, you're going to have two sentences in a row that start with I created.
I
created multiple projects through Claude AI to improve efficiency at the firm. I created a project to assist with the drafting process.
Yeah.
I'm ringing the gong at that point. I can't handle it. You got to read this out loud. There's got to be some kind of like a flow to it. Yep. It's funny because I don't think there's any errors, any typos, anything.
No, every sentence is like perfect in its bubble.
In its own little world where it doesn't acknowledge that there was a sentence that came before or a sentence that comes after. It's funny because it's like technically correct, Jeremiah, but it is the least artful personal statement. And I mean artful there to be like something that you should strive for.
Mm-hmm.
It's the least beautiful personal statement I think we may ever have read.
Flow.
It lacks any kind of character whatsoever or like melody. I am not hearing the melody at all.
It's literally the gong, like over it says ding, ding, ding. There's no like variation.
This comes off like so monotonous. It's technically correct. There's a lot of good facts in here. This is the one. Normally we're going the other way with people, right? Normally we're like, hey, stop being so fancy. Stop, I keep your short sentences, Jeremiah.
Yeah,
and keep a lot of I sentences. Keep it focused on you. Keep you doing things. But boy, if you could make your paragraph shorter, add back some sort of like a narrative arc where you're at least maybe following a case through or something, show yourself winning in one particular instance so that you can show off all of these things that you have to do. Here's all the things that go into kicking ass for one client.
Yep.
That would be
great. Think about a challenging case that you overcame.
And read it out loud, dude, because you can't have so many sentences that sound exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
There are other ways to have I be the subject of the sentence besides just starting the sentence with literally the word I every time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremiah, for playing. Did not make it all the way through the statement. I don't think we need to count the lines or anything there. Good job. Oh, want to read Jeremiah's little note here?
Yeah, it says, hi, Ben and Nathan. I wanted to submit my personal statement for the personal statement Gong segment on the Thinking LSAT podcast. You have done that. Thank you. Also, do you recommend tailoring our personal statements to different law schools' personal statement prompts? He continues, I noticed some law schools have more open-ended prompts than others. I'm not talking about optional statements. Do you think it will hurt to have a general personal statement that we submit to multiple law schools without tweaking it?
I would strongly encourage you to have one kick-ass personal statement that just satisfies all prompts. Read
Yeah.
5 different prompts and write one statement that responds to all of them. And when they say, tell us why you want to go to Santa Clara Law School, they don't mean Santa Clara Law School specifically. They just like name dropping themselves. All they mean to say is make sure that your personal statement reflects like why you might want to go into law. They just always throw in Santa Clara Law because they're trying to sell you on the idea of Santa Clara Law.
Yeah.
Right. But one personal statement for all prompts. Maybe there's one dream school or something where you want to customize the prompt or customize your personal statement for that school. But I'd way rather you have one great personal statement than multiple mediocre personal statements.
I agree 100% with that. I could see a scenario where you look at the prompt, your personal statement works for 98% of your schools, and one school you're like, okay, I need to they had a oddly specific question in here. But even then, all you're doing is you're taking your personal statement and adding a sentence or two to make sure you meet their requirement.
Also, just remember that they want you probably based on the numbers. They're looking for reasons not to admit you, not for reasons to admit you when they read your personal statement. They've basically decided, okay, we either want this person or we don't want them. If you're in the presumptive admit pile, which you should be in the presumptive admit pile based on your numbers because that's how you get the right price. If you're in that pile, they're just reading it to make sure that you're a professional person, that you took it seriously, that you did the assignment, that you can write clearly, don't get don't think that you have to like fine-toothed respond to every single word in their prompt. Every law school has like a slightly different prompt, but they're all basically the assignment is the same. They just want to get to know you. Are you going to be successful at their school? Are you going to be successful as a lawyer?
I agree with that, and I think that for most people, their personal statement will work for all schools that they apply to. I guess I just, to your point about looking for reasons to deny people, if they ask an oddly specific question in their personal statement, you don't answer it. It's like, hey, you didn't do the assignment, you weren't paying attention. Maybe you can answer it with one sentence. Just make sure to add it to your personal statement somewhere at the beginning or at the end, or so you check that box. Maybe that doesn't exist. I'd love to know if people come across those.
I just don't want people copy pasting the name of the school.
100%. No,
to
no,
their
no,
personal
no.
statement. But that's what people might misinterpret that we're saying because, well, it said, tell them why this school. Yeah, but did it really say that they wanted to hear why you wanted to go to that school specifically? Did it say the word specifically? Or did it just mention the name of their school?
Why do you want to come to this school?
Right. What I'm saying is,
and really what they mean is, why do you want to go to law school? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So can you interpret their prompt in such a way that your statement is complying with the prompt? Like, unless there's something where you're just obviously missing it, you're obviously not following the assignment, then that's bad. But if you can interpret, oh, I didn't think you really meant you wanted me to name drop your school. I just thought you were mentioning your school as law school. You gotta, I just really think that most people should have the goal of having one personal statement for all schools. That's all.
Yep.
And you agree with that, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Hope that wasn't too harsh feedback. I do think that there's a lot of room for improvement. You got a lot to work with there. You just need to rethink the story there and the flow of the sentences in relation to one another.
All right. Word of the week.
Oh yeah. So I sent this to you for a totally different reason. You're the one that suggested this as a word of the week candidate. I was reading this a Substack from Maria Konnikova. She's a professional poker player and writer.
Hmm.
Um, she was writing about one of her readers got mad because she posted that Gary Larson cartoon, the Far Side cartoon,
Yeah.
the Midvale School for the Gifted one, where the boy trying to get in is pushing on the pole door.
Yeah.
It's a funny cartoon.
It's a funny cartoon. Yeah.
The reader was offended that she had put it in her post or something.
Yeah.
And her response essentially was "fuck off." Like,
Yeah.
you can't be that much. Like, who are you mad at? Why are you mad about that?
Yeah.
Who
Who are we
it's
offending
supposed
here?
to be a school for the gifted. Like, you're making fun of the kid for pushing on the pole door.
Yeah.
It's a fucking joke, for Christ's sakes. Why are you getting so mad?
Yeah.
And anyway, then she went on to write this a blog post about another Gary Larson cartoon, where it had two chimps and they happened to mention Jane Goodall.
Yeah.
You know, the famous primatologist. I think she just died, Jane Goodall.
I feel like she did too. Yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, the story is that the Jane Goodall Institute.
Wait, you got to tell just describe this cartoon. Kind of funny.
I mean, sure, I'll just give away the whole joke. I mean, everybody's seen this probably. It's been around for 30 years, but you got one chimp grooming another chimp. And the chimp doing the grooming is holding up a hair and says, well, another blonde hair, conducting a little more research with that Jane Goodall tramp. And so the cartoon ran, I guess, in the paper or whatever. And then the Jane Goodall Institute threatened Larson with litigation.
Wow.
They said to refer to Dr. Goodall as a tramp is inexcusable. The cartoon was incredibly offensive and in such poor taste that readers might well question the editorial judgment of running such an atrocity in a newspaper that reputes to be supplying news to persons with a better than average intelligence. Long story short, and we'll get to the word of the week. Someone sent it around. Someone eventually sent it to Jane Goodall.
Somehow she got word. I mean, Larson was upset. He was like, "Oh, I didn't mean to offend Jane Goodall. She's a hero of mine. I just thought this was funny."
An editor sent it to her. That's what it was. An editor sent it to Dr. Goodall. Turns out she absolutely loved the cartoon. She thought it was hilarious. In her own words, it made her guffaw. And Ben suggested the word guffaw for word of the week. I think mostly just so that we could tell this story. What does guffaw mean?
I think it means to, if I looked it up at the time, but I think it's like to laugh heartily, like extra. Yeah.
A guffaw is like a super big laugh. So Dr. Goodall goes on to become good friends with the Far Side cartoonist Gary Larson. She was not offended in the slightest. She had no idea why the institute that bore her name was mad that Larson had written that cartoon. Anyway, sometimes people like getting just reading recommendations, random reading recommendations.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get better at reading? And I say, read more. And then they say, what should I read? And I say, anything you like.
Yeah.
And maybe we should make this more of like a recurring feature on the show.
Yeah.
Stuff we like. Stuff we like to read specifically.
Yeah.
I like reading the Substacks of Maria Konnikova. Not all of them, but we'll link to this story. The post was called "Funny or Offensive: The Far Side, Jane Goodall, and a lesson in humor we can all take to heart." I found it interesting and thought-provoking, and you will learn new words every time you read, if you're doing it right. So just read stuff that keeps you reading. It'll improve your vocabulary over time. Might not pay
Especially if
off.
you look up words, right? That's a key step that a lot of people skip. Takes
And all
5
that
seconds.
requires these days is a right click. I mean,
Yeah.
it's so easy. You don't need to lug around a dictionary. You just right click when you're online, and you can get that definition right there. So, you will be sharpening the weapons that you will use. Lawyers are gladiators of the English language, and you don't have to read highfalutin bullshit. You don't have to read stuff you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You can read stuff you like, and you will get better at words.
Yeah.
If you want to catch up on all of our Words of the Week segments, you can go to lsat.link/wow.
Great.
I think that's it.
That's it. Be LSAT famous. Please ask questions or share news with us on our website, thinkinglsat.com, or on our socials at LSATdemon. If you have questions about the demon, you can email our amazing help team at help@lsatdemon.com.
They
You
made
can
it
also-
to inbox zero every day this last week. They are killing it. We have the best help team. So, got questions? What's that email again?
help@lsatdemon.com. You can also check out our other podcast. That's LSAT Demon Daily. That was episode 529 of the Thinking LSAT podcast. Thanks all y'all for listening. Nice knowing you. Don't pay for law school.